Hey guys, it's Tessa. So, as you are quickly finding out, I am becoming obsessed with quilting at like an almost concerning level, to the point where for my birthday, one of the places my husband and I went was a quilting shop in my town that I did not know existed until yesterday, or a couple days before yesterday, but you get the point. And I bought 10 half yards in a lot of really cute patterns. I show them off, I think, a bit better in my birthday acquisitions video, but I'll give you a quick glance at them here as well. And basically we're gonna quilt a new purse. So here's all the patterns, just kind of a quick glance at them. I'm gonna quilt a new purse because the current purse I have is one I crocheted 4 years ago, like right when I moved into this apartment, so just under 3.5 years ago. But it is this purse here, and as you can see, it's a little crusty dusty. We don't love her at the moment, but it's gonna be in a similar style. It's like those standard, like, you know, patchwork, like boho-ish, like crossbody bags you can get. It's gonna be like that, but you know, in my fabric and made by me, of course. And this is also part of a solution to my, I want to make my wardrobe for myself. That's all really cottagecore themed and all of that, but none of my clothes fit me currently, so I don't really see a full purpose in making a lot of clothing that's not gonna fit me in a few months anyway. So this is my solution, is gonna be accessories slash general items I can add to my wardrobe to kind of help out. But like I said, I have 10 half yards here, so I'm gonna use just a little bit of it, I think, for this purse, especially since I have already made and cut out my pattern pieces. I have another version of this already cut out as well, but I remember not liking certain parts of that one, so I made an effort. This time around to make sure that I really included the modifications that I wanted to, which is one, I moved the seam. So originally I had the seam on this crease here, on this long part, which created a weird seam across the strap of the bag where the material around it would stretch a bit, excluding the seam, so it would buckle some. I should also say I've made a fabric version of this using that original pattern I made. And because of the seam being along this center line of the strap, everything around this was stretching or buckling and the center wasn't, and it was kind of going weird. A different modification, or another modification I should say, I made is to actually the rest of this pattern. So one, I think on the first one as well, for that original piece I just showed you, I brought it to a point at the very top, which I did not like. I don't need to do that, so I'm not going to this time. But I've also cut out a piece for an inner pocket that I can like put my phone in and stuff. And then finally, the other modification I made is on the original bag. I just did like a straight stitch, or I did like a box stitch at the bottom. This time I'm going to try to add a curved panel here. I think I have some interfacing left from all the wristlets I've been making. So I think I have some interfacing from that, and if I don't, I'm just gonna add a couple layers of stiff fabric in the bottom instead. But this is our bottom piece. I have a small feeling this is not gonna fit properly, but that's my own doing. So when it comes to this fabric and how I'm gonna cut it, I'm first gonna cut 3/4 inch strips just across one of the cut edges here. So like here, I'll just cut across. 3 1/4, I think, or 3.75, I don't remember. It's whatever my plastic ruler is, because I'm just gonna use that as the core measurement. I'm gonna do 1 strip of each of these, and I think I'm gonna do it in this order as well. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more, but I'll sew them all in 1 strip, I think, and then cut them again by 3.5 or 3 1/4, whatever it is, for that ruler, and then just flip them. Or the other option I have is, once I do that, I also trim areas, or I cut off certain areas to make them like longer, so that I can cut the whole main piece of the bag out of 1 strip of fabric versus like a bunch of pieces and then having to piece them together again, but like shapes are all weird and wonky. Like, I want to avoid that if I can. Hopefully that made some sense. And then for the lining fabric, I do have some just standard brown cotton fabric that I think will work. I don't know if I have enough in the yardage in one direction for that whole strap and the base part of the bag to be all one piece. For both panels, yeah, I don't. There might not even be enough here to actually do the lining, which I'll check it and see if there is. I really don't think so. This is literally all I have. And if it's not, then I might look at maybe a pretty fabric on the inside. I don't really know. I didn't really want to do that. I'll think about it. We'll find out and we'll check in from there. Right now, my main priority is just cutting all of these out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, I know it looks a little strange because it lines up in the center, but we have our first sheet of fabric. I think also what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do one side of the exterior in this fabric and then the other side of the exterior in it. I think it really just depends if I can get two of the outer bag pieces out of this, which I really don't think I can, but I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna go do that and we will check in if I'm successful or not. All right, so I cut all the pieces, as you can see on my chair here, sort of. Everything could not fit properly on a single piece of fabric. So my outer fabric had to be cut secondarily and have an attachment that needs to be added. Both of my lining pieces also have 2 attachments. One has 3 attachments, and my bottom piece is 2, for the inner is 2 pieces as well. So I'm gonna get to putting the outer and inner pieces together, and then we'll come back together before I sandwich them together. Okay, so almost done. I did all the linings did both the linings. We have our inner lining. I also put this pocket on in the wrong spot originally. That's what all this stitching, oh, you can't even see that. That's what all this stitching over here is from. But I put the pocket on the wrong spot originally, and now it's just off center. I don't really care. I just wanted a pocket so that if I have like cash or something, I could just stick it in there. I will not even elaborate on how frustrating this whole thing was, if I'm being completely honest. Because I had just so many pieces that had to have extra pieces attached, it became a lot harder figuring out like what the exact center was, where those pieces fit exactly in the center of the rectangles. Like it just got more difficult, and it didn't need to be. Also, I haven't done this kind of like circular curved lining like this before, or curved stitching like this on something with interfacing on it. And this actually worked out surprisingly well. There's only 2 places on the inner lining that puckered a little bit, and then on this outer lining piece there's only, I think, 1 spot that like actually puckered. Hold on. Yeah, there's only 1 spot that actually did it, which I don't really care. It's such a small part of like this bottom edge corner. Like it's so not visible. But I'm loving the way this bag's coming out so far. I will say I did think there's gonna be a little bit more of the darker colors here in the center, but obviously depending on how I cut it, like I did, that changes things. So next steps are to put the outer fabric inside out. Okay. And then put this fabric, the outer layer, inside the wrong side of the inner layer. Yes, okay, so maybe I might be wrong here. I think this is what we need to do, because we need to, no, this also needs to be wrong side. Hold on, I'm getting confused now. I don't really remember. Basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to sew these 2 pieces together. And so the way to do this is I think you have to have both wrong sides together. No? A wrong side and a right side? I really don't want to rip this out, so I'm trying to figure this out from memory. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Because what's going to happen here is we're going to go along these seams, right? Walk with me. We're going to go along these seams. And then when we flip them back out, so it's right sides together then. It's right sides together. I don't know why I thought differently, but okay. Basically, we're gonna stitch almost all the way around to combine these, right? To connect these together. And then with that, because our right sides will be together, when we flip it back to right sides out, we'll have a nice smooth edge. And if I want to, I can top stitch around it, which I probably will do, but that is where we're at now. So I'm gonna sew these together. I can't even explain how frustrating this whole thing's been. I think I've already said this. This very quickly became a very frustrating project, so I'm glad it's almost done. But since it's almost done, I want to get it done, you know? Oh my god, I thought I was filming that this whole time. Okay, like I tried to say, I'm going to now bag line these, I think is what it's called, where you just take a really small seam across the entire edging here of this whole front section, including that little hole I left open to flip the bag right side out. Alright, it's done! It's so cute! Everything looks great. The only part of it I don't love is actually, I have a couple things I don't like. But the way I did these straps here is I just kept them disconnected and then cornered off the edges, of course, and then just tied a little knot. Figure that's easier for me. I tend to wear bags either like this in the full crossbody style or just a crossbody bag but on my shoulder. But there we go. So my phone, for example, fits in the little pocket I made. It does not actually, I'm a little liar. It kind of fits. It doesn't fit long ways, but it fits mostly up and down, so that's nice. And I made the width of these panels 17 inches wide, 12 inches tall, and then obviously the circular base. So there's a decent amount of space in here. I'm trying to think what I can grab to put in here. We can fill it with books. Okay, we're gonna fill the bag with books and just see how many books we can fill in the bag. So we got readies. Hold on, my husband has a whole stack of books by his desk. Okay, so we're at 3 so far. Let me flip these so they're all the same way, actually. Okay, and we got 4 more. The Tower Dungeon 1 through 5. Technically, we don't have 4, but I think we have 2 copies of 5. Oh yeah, these ones. Okay, more books. More books. It's getting a little heavy now, but like we've still got a ton of space. 2 more books. More books. Like you can tell we're getting kind of full, but like we still have space in here at this point. Next are deck boxes. We play a lot of Magic, which by the way, I saw this YouTuber, I'll pin the video here, but she did a video on what items she would make various Magic cards, and now I need to do this, okay? Because I can't stop thinking about it for some of my commanders. Okay, deck boxes. We got a Kirk going in here. I think I say that one wrong. We got a Lord of the Nazgul. Okay, yeah, Lord of the Nazgul. More. You can fit Dahada in here. Oh, actually, this is the no reading deck. My bad. This is no reading. This is Dahada. You take Dahada. I think we're technically capped out at 3 deck boxes, but I can set like 2 more on top, and they still fit in the bag. So we'll say 3.5 deck boxes, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books, one of which being a pretty thick book. So I think she's pretty full, and I think she holds quite a bit of stuff. And that was also including my phone. But yeah, so quick chat. Quick chat on some things I would change about this bag. Okay, firstly, I wish I did it I wish I cut out the pieces. I wish I cut out the pieces in the other direction, because that would have made it so that there was more, not uniformity, but this section here at the front where there's the double pail next to each other, I don't love, but I like it still. But instead of that occurring, we wouldn't see that problem. Because what would connect is this section, this bottom section here would connect instead, and I could easily just offset that by 2 spaces, and that would fix any issue. Additionally, I meant to put a zipper in here, so I'm just gonna hand sew it in myself, which no biggie really, like not that big of a deal at all. I actually kind of like the fact that I had to, for the lining layer, separate the pieces from the like strap section. I think it just makes it, for me at least, sit a little bit nicer, I feel like. Regarding this bottom section here where I have the 2 layers of interfacing, which I did have enough interfacing to do this. One, I will say, my little bottom pieces here I don't think were wide enough, because I did have to insert a very tiny pleat on both sides. I don't know if you can actually even see it. Very tiny pleat at the center of both sides of the base plate, on both the lining layer and the outer layer. So I think I just need to work on making that a little bit bigger, or making this piece a little bit bigger in the future for the next version, which I'm tempted to make this like an actual pattern that you can make yourself. I don't know that I've never written a sewing pattern before, so I'm a little nervous. As for the lining, I did. It looks fine. No big deal. I'm really excited to use this now, honestly. I think it's just really cute. I've always loved this style of bag and never actually owned this style of bag from like a store or anything. So that's really exciting. Part of me wants to add a pocket on the outside here just to break up this light pattern, like so much bright lightness right next to each other, especially since 2 lights are right next to each other. So if I just put like a little strip here of some of the scraps I have, it could be a nice little like just color differentiation. I don't know though. Let me know what you think. I do also want to say one of these fabrics, it's in this row here with these little butterflies, but the fabric that is not the green butterfly fabric is all the same fabric. It just has multiple prints on it. So I'm thinking for another version of this, I use that fabric and this more like yellowy cream one as my neutrals, and then I use like predominantly this orange, the black with orange and yellow or gold, and then either the yellow or the gourds. That way it'll be a lot more uniform in tone. I think this is just because I wanted to get, well, I wanted to buy some fabric, really was the deal, and I bought some fabric. So yep, that is how this looks. I'm gonna use this as my primary bag, so like in a couple videos from now I'll do like a little recap of how it's holding up. But that is it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, leave a comment below. If you want to see more from me and see how much my quilting obsession is really taking over, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.